Thinking of planting a herb garden? How do you get started? In this video, Koidu Sulev of richters.herbs takes you through the entire creative process, from planning and site selection to planting, caring for, and enjoying your herb. Welcome to Richter's Seminars. This video presentation is from a series of free educational seminars on herb and garden topics offered each year at Richter's.
So anyway, it's how to plan and plant your herb garden. And when I started, then I was thinking that very often, plan and plant, they say, plant taller plants here and smaller there and, on the slopes. And then I thought, no, there is more involved in growing successful plants. It's not that you buy some plants and stick them in the ground without, knowing where they originally came from. I have a book that I just love. It's the Atlas of the plants where they originally came from, tulips, Turkey, and that's why, not all the plants, it doesn't matter how well you fertilize, they still don't like the surroundings. So then, since I was expecting quite a few people who would start a new garden, I said, okay, you know the size of your house, you know the size of your, empty back lot, So I thought, make something like this. Everybody can manage that. It's more like a wish list. If you have children, these jungle gym things, and if it's a retired couple, maybe a quiet corner where they can enjoy the birds. So it's all very individual. So I said, start with this. And if you're really artistic, you can make something like that. So what's very important, that you walk around and see where's the sun, for how many hours do you get it. The neighbor's garage might be, giving shade. And that's something you can never get rid of, unless they tear down the garage. So it's very deep shade, okay? So then you have to adapt, how many plants. What usually looks better is that you have clumps of, let's say, 3 or 5 of one variety, not, one here and one there, and they get lost. And also, if you are interested in attracting butterflies and bees and hummingbirds to your garden, you need a bigger patch, because when they fly over your garden, they will notice that there are 7 nice bergamots, red bergamots. But if it's one here and one there, they don't seem to notice. So it's something to bear in mind. And if you also look in the magazines from Europe, it's this weaving pattern, but I'll get back to that later on. Okay. If you read gardening magazines, they show loam. Loam is a very important word. If you want something to grow really well, you need loam. And as you can see, it's a mixture of clay, silt, sand, and humus. And it's the best way to grow. And loam is formed in nature, this old growth forest. That's the best loam you will ever find, because nobody has put artificial fertilizers in the forest or tempered with them. So the leaves fall down and, the loam builds up. So it rots, and that's how it is. So this is, the sand, the humus, the clay, and the difference. You need the mixtures. Here it says different proportions, but I don't think it's that important if you have, equal amount of all of them. Okay, when you buy fertilizer, it's always then NPK. And that natural soil enhancers, it's more like, the N makes green foliage, P is roots, and K is flowers and fruits. So you need all these three. And the natural soil enhancers, it's worm castings you have read and see. You can even buy it, cost a fortune. Well-rotted fall leaves, we can all have it in case. I have even been helping myself to fall leaves. If you go early enough out in the morning when it's garbage day, there are these paper ones. So you fill up your car and and
nobody complains.
No, nobody complains. And if the owner should come and I say, oh, you have lovely bags here, do you mind if I take a few? And nobody has said no. So it's perfect. It's all raked, and you can make compost of the leaves. Mushroom compost, it's good. Well-rotted manure, you can buy these sheep and cow manure. Sometimes if you open the bag, the quality is not the best. So, but you can't really do much about it. Okay, here is still the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but it also needs, smaller amounts of these, and even smaller of boron, chlorine, copper, iron, manganese, and molybdenum. But don't worry about those. If you have, compost, compost has all these minerals in it. So there is no need to, buy extra boron or extra iron. Leaf humus. You rake the leaves. You might have a wire cage. You put them in there, and you hope that, next spring you will have humus. But more is involved because, the leaves, they don't decompose as quickly as carrot peels, let's say. Microorganisms are involved. And it's actually the, mushroom type bacteria that would, make the compost of the leaves. But this is so much easier. You can see the peels, and if it's moist enough, you will see you have all these earthworms. And when I looked when I tried to find pictures, there were so many pictures of the earthworm, people holding them lovingly in their hand. And if it's something I'm afraid of, it's earthworms. Some people are afraid of snakes. They don't bother me. Spiders. I pick them up, take them outside, no worry there. But if I see an earthworm on the ground, I'm ready to faint. So I found this picture. You can see there's one here and one here, so the picture didn't bother me too much. Yeah.
Can I mention something here? At first, when I had mushroom things
Yes.
in my garden, and I saw the white in there, and I thought it was mold.
Yeah.
It was actually mycelium.
Yes, it is mycelium.
And I used to live on the West Coast, and there's a man there that he has a mushroom lab, and he grows things
Yes.
out. And he did an experiment of companion planting vegetables with
Yes.
specific varieties of mushrooms.
Yes.
And it was extraordinary.
Yes.
The results he got.
Yes.
Stuff grew like crazy.
Yes.
When he planted it with the right
Yeah.
stuff.
Because the roots, they need to actually get the moisture, obviously, but the minerals, they need to be broken down, and that's when the mushrooms come in. And then, of course, air as well for the roots. That's the best. Yes, because there are, the spores or what, of the mushrooms already. So if you know where to get it, I would definitely go and get it. Okay, potting soil for containers. I grow my vegetables in big tubs. I buy them at Canadian Tire. They are $17.95, and they are huge. So you can easily put 3 tomato plants in each, and all the herbs as well.
Are they plastic?
Yes, but it's this fake terracotta color. It looks cheap. So what I do, I spray so they look like stone. You can buy the spray, so it looks like $100 pot. Yeah. So it's something, and especially I have 7 or 8, gathered in one. So if they are all this, stone-looking ones, so that people can see that I really spent some money on my.
I had a friend who planted all her garden was planted in pots.
Yes.
But she buried them in the soil.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really see the pots.
No.
But then when she'd have to move, she'd just lift them
Yeah,
up and take
yeah.
the garden with her.
Yeah.
So your paint doesn't chip off the plastic?
No, it's better to take a little bit with the sandpaper. Yeah, yeah. But be careful with what you buy. It has to be the one for plastic. Yeah. Okay, this is, since I have so many pots and it's expensive to buy the mixed bags already with the triple mix. So I buy some peat moss. I also buy some manure and also some perlite, because the perlite is for the roots to, the air pockets, and the rest is, full of nutrients. And I dump everything in my wheelbarrow, and then I take a shovel and I mix it.
Available separately at Canadian Tire or
Also, this other, giant.
it'll come to you.
Yes. Slipped my mind. Okay, the right way to plant. If you take out the plant, it looks like this. This person has made a nice square hole, and I'm afraid she's going to put it in the hole. But what you have to do, you have to spread the roots. So I usually take this much off, spread them out. So this is the better way. You dig a hole, and also what I do, I put a little bit of slow release fertilizer at the bottom, the little pellets, and then I fill the hole with water. Then I quickly put the plant while the water is still in the hole. What happens is that gravity will pull the roots the way they should be, facing down. So it's very important. Then you just scratch the soil back, where there are little empty spots, and you pat it down. And that way the water is where the roots are, not, if you just sprinkle some water on the leaves. And the leaves don't need water, but the roots do. Okay, now you have been working in the garden. Your back is killing you, your feet are killing you, and your legs. So the Chinese, they have been around for thousands of years, with acupressure. And it actually works. You can touch now, while you can see where the blue dot is. And if you massage that spot, it might not be sore now, but after some gardening, you do it, you press for 1 minute, then you let it go, then keep on doing. So it really helps. It's some kind of a nerve center. And if you they always say that there has to be the chi, the flow in the body. So this is one of the spots where the chi has been, blocked. Okay, growing herbs in pots. I said I like pots. Bay laurel likes to be on its own. Many like the strawberry pots, but what happens? These dry out in no time at all. So the way you plant, you fill this with soil at the lowest level. Then you take out the plant, pull it out, ease out the roots, and put it in horizontally. Because if you put like this, there isn't much soil, and it will dry out in no time at all. But if you put it like this, the roots will be here. Even if it's lying down to start off with, but the sun, pulls out, so it will all be nice and straight. So you just do it like this. So that's very important, because people say, strawberry pot, no good, my plants dry out in no time at all. And you can mix and match a big, very often you have your favorite herb, so if you have something like this, that's all you need. Okay, window boxes. There are many people who live, in condos, and they don't have a garden. My sister lives in a condo as well, so she has a huge balcony, maybe from there to there, and so it's full of plants, full of pots. And the herbs, they don't mind, being together. You can see this clay pot here. When people buy a clay pot, they fill it with soil and then they plant. That's wrong. You have to soak the clay pot overnight, because terracotta is so porous. Even if you water quite well, it gets sucked into the pot, and so the roots might dry out. You can also grow veggies in a window box. And especially these microgreens, they are popular right now. I go to these daycare programs for seniors, so sometimes they seed their own microgreens and, salads and some herbs as well, beet sprouts. And so it's a good way to dry things during the winter months. You don't need, a big area, so you just cut. Raised beds. That's everybody's dream. You put the black plastic at the bottom, you fill it with good soil, and you can actually use the kind of soil that would be best for these plants. So you have a lot of, how shall I say, a lot of success to grow, because then you grow exactly where they should be. This one might need more water, this one less, and you try to plant them that way.
I knew a man who built things like that, but he used bales of hay.
Yes.
Like 2 bales.
Yeah, I have seen that, yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
The stuff grew like crazy, and he just stretched plastic over the top, so
Yes.
it was a greenhouse.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
how well everything grew in there.
Yeah. And, the raised beds, if you just have a balcony and you're good at building, you can make something like this. Here is, the vegetables look. If you have pet rabbits and you don't want them to work too hard, to get there, so they can just rest their little paws and eat, yeah. Yeah. There are animal lovers. Herb bed, most likely it will look something like this. People stick them in whichever way, but it can still look very nice. And as you know, the taller ones at the back. And so how do you decide the height of the tallest herb? You measure the width of the bed. You divide the width in half. So that height would be the most pleasing for the eye. So that's garden science, Yeah. If you have a very dry location, you can grow the Mediterranean plants more. And these don't need that much water. You can see Santolina. I like Santolina a lot. And it's the rose-scented geranium and the lavender, and this is alkanet. Have you grown alkanet?
I grew it once.
Yeah, I love it. It's the brightest blue color you can have, and it grows to quite the size.
What is the use for the alkanet?
The alkanet is usually people, dye plant.
It makes a red color.
Yes, red, yes.
We used to use it put it in with a lip balm and you get lipstick.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, red lipstick.
Yeah.
And people also used it, I think, coloring certain things that you just want them to look more
Yeah.
appealing, like cough syrup or something.
And also, most of the plants for dyeing, they are kind of drab, grayish yellow and, some yucky green. But alkanet is a nice bright color. Okay, edible herb blossoms. I'm giving a talk in a few weeks' time about edible blossoms. So I'm thinking, how can I talk about it for 1 hour? So I have to. Yes. And people come in and say, I want to eat the edible flowers. Which ones are the tastiest? So the tastiest ones are the ones with a lot of nectar, the ones that the bees like. And it's usually the mint family and, Labiate. So, but then you almost feel it's a shame, to take this off and eat it, and it's not that tasty. So I leave them for the hummingbirds. But people come and they want them. They want to eat them. So I almost ask, how often do you want to eat them every day or once a week, or how many plants do you need for eating, They don't know.
I think they're good for decorating salads.
Yes.
Decorating.
Yeah, decoration. I have told them that. Yeah. This is a lovely, lovely plant, very fragrant. It's called the sweet pink. It grows wild, by the seashore of Ireland and England, and that's where it comes from originally. This is the Clorinda geranium. Are you familiar with it? It has the loveliest blooms. And the top one is heliotrope. It's more of a tropical plant, but very fragrant. Some people say it smells of baby powder, but I think it's not quite right.
What kind of geranium is that?
A Clorinda, Clorinda. Some herbs are trailing, the rosemaries, and the rosemaries usually flower at Christmas time. Sometimes they flower now too. This is the apple-scented geranium, and this one is Dittany of Crete. I don't know where they have grown it. It's a lovely plant, fuzzy gray leaves, and these, it's sure is trailing. Herbs for lemon tea, lemon balm, lemongrass, and lemon verbena. So there are herbs that smell and taste of lemon, even though they are not related, they don't look the same, but they share the same scent. Ground covers, people come in, they are fed up with the lawns. They want to buy seeds, sprinkle them in the lawn and hope that, next year they will have a ground cover. So I say, don't be disappointed, because grass always wins. So you have to get rid of the grass and then you start anew.
Well, I think that the problem is that grass doesn't come up sometimes. Sometimes people can't keep the nice grassy.
Yes.
I mean, that's the problem, right? Like in my yard, I have many muddy patches where I'm afraid it's not going to be very grassy.
But some people are lazy. They don't want to bother with cutting the grass. So they wait till, the last minute, and the neighbors are upset. They are ruining the value of the real estate, So they thought if they have a thyme lawn, it will look green even at the driest of days, and they would be well ahead of everything.
We were told, somebody told me Trinag chamomile. It's
Yes.
Irish chamomile that's non-flowering.
Yeah, the English, yeah.
One of the teachers taught us to do is to make a bed-sized thing.
Yes.
Trinag, and at first, you put clumps of it.
Yes.
We didn't do it from seed, we did it from clumps, and then it all filled in.
Yes.
And you go out and you lie on it, and it's like, it's so, you just feel, you just fall asleep.
Yes.
It's lovely.
But you see, in the past, when people suffered from consumption, tuberculosis, these sanatoriums, they had the, the benches where people could sit, chamomile benches, and of course, they also smelt the pine trees, and so they cured people that way. Okay, herbs for the kitchen. I have noticed that if the kitchen herbs are close to the kitchen door, you tend to use more of them.
That's true.
Because if they are in a corner somewhere, you think, you're tired, you're hot, you want to get done, with the dinner, so you don't, I'll go next time, or you try the dried stuff. But mine is right outside, this big pot. You open the kitchen door, you grab, and, you know, you get this fantastic meal, you know. Watering. It's so important to water the right way. You have to water deeper and less often. Water in the morning or early evening. But I'm sure you know these things already. The soaker hose is the best. Yeah, watering, you know, different ways of, this is the hose, you know, that it looks like a shower. This is a watering can, soaking hose, and also, you know, the nozzle. I don't like these too much because it comes out in a spurt, and, you know, you kind of, yeah, destroy your plants. Companion planting. You have a bit of companion planting in the handout. And this is how people grew in the past, you know, a lot of these marigolds. And what you do, you confuse the insects. You plant the barrier, and then if they want to reach the cabbage or beet leaves, then they don't realize that, you know, they have to fly over the marigolds to get what they want. So it's a bit of deceiving the... no. Even if it's also called pot marigold, but no. Beneficial insects are on the top. Destructive, there are more of them, you can see. Okay, a well-tended garden won't get disease. So this is very, very important, because you cut and a sick plant, which you should really throw out in the first place, but you try to save it. So then you go to a healthy plant and you cut with the same. So what happens? This one gets diseased as well. Always pull out the weeds and pick up, you know, all the dried leaves and things. And also look out for early signs, you know, blotches. If you see a few blotches, take off the leaves. Don't wait until the whole plant is full of blotches. I guess we all tend to overlook in that respect. And also, if the leaves turn yellow, it could be some deficiency in nutrients. And faulty watering, it's one of the biggest culprits.
Can I ask a question about that? So the plants, if you don't water them enough, they turn yellow, and if you water them too much, they turn yellow. How do you know which one? Just because they're dry or wet?
Yeah, you have to. Okay, I think more often they turn yellow when you put too much water. If you put too little, usually the leaves get these brown tips. So that's, you know, a sign that, you know, the plant says, okay, can't you see I'm dying?
Yeah.
You know.
I hope a papyrus plant that doesn't break everything.
Yes. Okay, powdery mildew. And you can see it's better not to wait until the leaves start to look like this. There is a problem with basils the past few years. It's worldwide. They tend to get this virus disease. So if you buy the basil plant, turn it upside down, make sure that the stem is not brown, because that's an early sign. And so you have to actually eat the plant fairly quickly before, it really dies on you.
Is that the one they call Fusarium wilt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it called?
And there are others too.
There are breeds of it that are, like, you'll see sometimes even in the catalog,
Yes.
they'll say resistant to Fusarium
Yes,
wilt. And
yes.
you want to get those ones.
Yes, we have, if you want to buy seeds, look the ones there are some newer ones that have been developed so they would be more resistant. And especially, the basil growers, if you have 5 acres and they all get this, okay, if we have a plant or two, it's not a major financial loss. You can buy a new one. Yeah, strawberries in the past, it was a real problem, for the strawberry growers. Okay, home remedies. So you help yourself to these. So they would, it's the same thing. They will take care of what you saw in the previous slide. Okay, herb bed in July. I said it's better to grow lots of one variety than, here and there. These are the marigolds, the really fragrant ones, the ones we sell. And this is the yellow marigold. And you can see it's almost like waves. It's the ones that win the prizes at the Chelsea flower show, or the Germans especially like something like this. Okay, this I just put. Do you know Jekka McVicker? She's a British herbalist. She has grown or written many, cookbooks and also medicinal plants. And she's very well known in Britain. She actually started off with one of these in a trailer park with her husband when they were hippies. And now she has this fantastic farm. Jekka, Jekka McVicker. We have a cookbook here. So this is her garden, and you can see how skillful she is, even though she, uses only one bush, but she puts it here, so it's more like mosaic. You can see how she has, put the same plants, mix and match. Okay, fragrant. Lavender, heliotrope, and this sweet pink. Okay, now you're here, so thank you for being so patient in this heat.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I guess you want to do some looking around and maybe pick up a few plants.
At Richters, it's not just a garden, it's a whole new world. For herb plants, seeds, veggies, and more, visit us at richters.com or call 1-800-668-4372.